Anthony Curtis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, man. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm here by myself today. Normally, I interview you with my dad, but him and my mom are on a 21-day cruise, so somebody's got to work around here. So it's
Must
just me
must be
today.
must be nice. This is the
Yeah,
first, just me and you. Whoa, let's
I
go.
know, right? Um, so we got you on here. We're going to do our normal update on how everything is going in Las Vegas. We did May 5th today. We did one last month, and that was the first one we had done in several months. So I figured we might as well just get another one out of the way here. So I guess we'll start with the normal question is how is business?
Well, pretty good because you're talking about Vegas, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, pretty. I thought you were talking about my business. I was going,
Oh,
yeah,
no, no, no.
it's all right, whatever. But I mean, no, Vegas is. It's been a pretty hot run for Vegas. First of all, obviously the reopening. Second is, the rescinding of the masks. Third was just a plethora of events.
Mhm.
And I mean, it started with BTS. You know who BTS is?
Yeah, that it was K-pop, I think.
Yeah, that little
Yeah,
boy band from Korea.
yeah.
And I've never seen anything like it. I guess anyone who didn't know what the Beatles were like, you just need to watch these guys get followed around. And they were real smart. They did. I think we talked about this on the last one, but they did
Hmm.
they did one weekend and then a second weekend. So all the
Hmm.
quote BTS army stayed in town, and all the room rates got jacked way up, and so it went crazy. Then we had the NFL draft, and then then we had spring break. And then, so,
Hmm.
business has been absolutely incredible in Vegas. And, we'll see how long that lasts because, how many events can they possibly have? But we had a big convention come in. I mean, it
Yeah.
just kind of rolling out here.
Hmm. Now, anything changing with the promos in the casinos? I know the last time we spoke, it was still we were talking about the casinos were all very tight, tightening down on everything. So is that still the case or?
Yeah, yeah, no evidence of anything changing yet. I
Hmm.
mean, I watch all of the calls with the analysts and things like that, and they're still making money hand over fist, and people are still coming to town, so nothing's going to change
Hmm.
until that sort of tapers off a little bit. But no, it's very little has changed there. The casinos are still being very tight out here. The bars are being much looser. So
Hmm.
locals especially, people aren't usually going to visit and go to bars, but a lot of the locals are finding a little bit of relief in the bars with their promos and free play and things like that.
Oh, right on. That's cool. Now, speaking of the NFL draft, how was it? I watched some of it on TV. I'm not a huge football person, but I had seen the plan, so I wanted to see it in person. It looked pretty unreal, actually. It was out of in front of the like on the water in the Bellagio fountain.
Yeah, they had it in two areas. They had a stage built over the Bellagio Fountains Lake, and they had one in the back behind the what do you call it? The big wheel,
Hmm.
the high roller
Hmm.
observation wheel. And both areas were packed. All of the intersections were clogged and shut off. And it was an enormous event. I mean, tons of people came to town. The town got a ton of publicity. They got all kinds of accolades about how well they ran it. So, on its face, it was extraordinarily good for Las Vegas. I didn't go down to it. To me, it was like New
Hmm.
Year's Eve, and I didn't want to
Oh
get
yeah.
involved in that mess. But I watched it on TV, and I watched the way Vegas was portrayed, and I read the returns afterward, and everybody was like, "Wow, Vegas really did it up good." So it was a good thing for the city.
And now I keep seeing that everybody was saying they shut down the strip to car traffic. I don't know if it was the whole strip or just that part right in front of the Bellagio. And everybody online is saying like how great that was. And I don't know. I came out years ago. I don't even. I think this was before I was 21, but we came out to Vegas for New Year's, and during New Year's they have the whole strip closed down, and I thought it was kind of a pain because you couldn't really cross the street because they got that big median with the fences in the way. But everybody was saying how great it was it like the same as New Year's, or it was a
Well,
little different,
no,
or?
no, New Year's they shut down literally the whole strip. Here they
Hmm.
only shut down an area of about, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks worth.
Hmm.
And like regular city blocks. So you were talking about maybe from, slightly beyond Flamingo down to Harmon or something along those lines. So
Hmm.
it was nothing like New Year's Eve. So the people were saying it's great, or the people that wanted to run around on the strip and not, get hit by a car. But I mean, they're the ones that liked it. Nobody else liked it because you had to go around. But it was not nowhere near as difficult as it was to get around as it is on New Year's Eve. But hey,
Okay.
thankfully it's gone. Thank goodness. I'm glad it's gone.
Well, funny you say that, because my next question, I was going to say, I read that, I forget if it was a city or a county commissioner said he wanted to keep it that way permanently.
Right.
So, what are your, well, I guess you're not a fan of it staying that way. Do you think there's any chance at all that that'll happen?
I think there's a real good chance because I mean, people loved it. And, you know,
Mhm.
when you looked at all the comparisons afterwards that people wrote about, they're like, okay, you know, New Orleans was great and wherever else they had it, New York City, I don't know. But I mean, you know, these places were great, but Vegas was better.
Mhm.
So if it really works and it worked out for the NFL, they seem to be happy as hell. I could see it coming back real quickly, if not become an annual event. That it was
Oh, no,
stationary.
no, no. I meant the strip closing down permanently,
Oh, the
not
strip closing
the
down?
draft coming back.
Oh, shoot, no, hell no. They're never gonna close down the strip. Well, again, I said they'd never close their casinos during the, you know, during COVID.
COVID,
I
yeah.
was wrong about that, but no, they
Mhm.
can't close the strip. There's, you know, the monorail is not good enough. It doesn't, there's
Mhm.
just, you know, they'd need an underground, some sort of tramway down there, which they're working on with the cars, Tesla and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But they're just not there yet. They need some alternative form of transportation. People got to be able to traverse the strip with their cars.
Mhm. Now, one thing we've been talking about for months and months and months that I believe finally happened is the Palms reopening under new ownership. That tribe from California. How is the Palms?
Yeah, San Manuel, band of Mission Indians out of California. The Palms reopened last week. I went to opening night. The crowds came, you know, pouring in. There was a VIP party, which I got to attend, being a member of the media. Um, I was shocked when I walked into the Palms. The reason I was shocked is I was expecting it to have changed. And I was like, how will it change? How will it change? So I wasn't shocked by change. I was shocked by non-change.
Mhm.
It looked exactly like the Palms before it closed. I mean, almost exactly. I
Hmm.
saw, you know, one kind of neat mural, you know, over by registration that had an Indian motif about it. But every single other thing that was in the Palms, the sharks in the middle and all the bars in place, all the exact same restaurants, almost every single one of them, even the layout of the machines in the casino, nothing had changed. And think about this, Matt. Why would they change? I
Mhm.
mean, you
Well,
know,
that's what I was going to say. I always liked the Palms, so I was going to say, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing that nothing
you
changed?
know, it's a good thing because Station Casinos gifted them a $650 million renovation
Mhm.
that they weren't able to, you know, to capitalize on. So why tear that all up? You had $650 million put into the place.
Mhm.
So why move it around? But I heard that the floor was going to be reconfigured and everything else, and I did not see one thing that I went, wow, I didn't recognize this from before. All the
Mhm.
names are the same, all the placement is the same, and I was, you know, I talked to other friends of mine and I said, am I crazy or what? And they're like, no, I had the exact same impression. It's like nothing had changed.
Mhm. Which leads you to question, why were they closed for so long?
Well, that was gaming. You know,
Uh-huh.
that was
Oh.
their gaming license. Now, you know, I'm
Oh,
sure
okay, that makes sense.
they supposedly did a lot of back of the house stuff. All right,
Uh-huh.
so that supposedly they've improved all of their back of the house systems and things of that nature, which, you know, anyone in IT knows that that's a big undertaking and that would have
Yep, yep,
taken
yep,
a
yep.
while.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there were subtle changes done that just aren't, you know, obvious when you look at it. But most of it was them getting their gaming license, coming in out of California and having to qualify in Nevada and go through that arduous process of being checked and everything else.
Gotcha. I didn't think about that. Now, one question I have about the Palms, I don't know if you can answer. Do they still have the 100 play 9-6 jacks or better?
That one I don't know for sure, but I can tell you, I'll tell you this, if they had it before, they
Uh-huh.
probably still have it.
Okay.
Because that's the other thing I noticed. You know, we did the Las Vegas Advisor YouTube channel the day after the show, and we talked about what we saw. And I went on and said, boy, you know, nothing good with video poker. This is what I was afraid of. And the reason was because on opening night, there were people everywhere. And all I
Mhm.
did was walk up to a bar. And usually the bar is relatively indicative of what's in the rest of the place. So I checked it through, and at quarters and dollars, there really was nothing. The best I found was, you know, 97% game,
Mhm.
7-5 bonus poker. So I just came to the conclusion that there's probably bad video poker at the Palms. Well, I went back the next day and started looking around and started hearing from people going, are you crazy? The video poker is great here.
Mhm.
And Sure enough, I'm finding, 10-7 double bonus, 100.17%.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
finding 10-6 double double, 100.7%. High paying in all the areas. Jacks are better, 9-6 jacks are better for sure. So that 100 play is probably there. I don't know. I'll
Oh,
look
perfect.
for you next time I go.
All
Almost like
right.
your dad keeps asking about the sphere, and I'll check
Uh-huh.
about the 100 play video poker for you.
Well, the only thing I hope they change about that is I hope they, because it went from penny denomination up to quarter, and every time we tried to play it, there'd be somebody there playing pennies, like 5 lines for like a quarter a spin.
Oh, that's aggravating.
Yeah.
That's aggravating. But you know what? I got
Mhm.
to hand it to them because before they opened, we ran a piece in the Las Vegas Advisor where we went and checked out the schedules at San Manuel, their casino in California. And
They have great games there.
great, but not this great. And that
Yeah.
was our
Well, that's because
conclusion.
it's not Vegas. You're never going to find anything over 100% outside of Vegas, I don't
Right.
think, or
So,
outside of Nevada, I should say.
but that was our conclusion. We said
Uh-huh.
the best you can hope for is this. And they
hmm
definitely exceeded it here.
Oh,
So,
wow. Great.
so all in all, there's a great, argument to be made that the best known casino off the strip in Vegas probably is the Palms.
hmm
I would say it's either Palms or Circa, and
hmm
maybe Hard Rock used to be in there, but there's no more Hard Rock, it's Virgin now. Or maybe it used to be the Hilton, but that's now Westgate. I would
hmm
say it's probably the Palms. And, and that was for a reason because they had a lot of good things there. And a lot of people were waiting for the Palms to come back. And they did come back and they brought back so many good things. So I give them a lot of credit. One more thing about it, they brought back their buffet. It's the, AYCE, all you can eat buffet, that's what it's called.
I looked at that for years and I never knew what it stood for. And then somebody was like, yeah, it stands for all you can eat. And I felt like such an idiot. I was like, oh, duh.
Makes sense, yeah. But they brought that back, but at double the price.
Oh,
So yeah, what used to be $11 for breakfast and $20 for dinner is now 25 for breakfast and 46 for dinner.
did it get any
And
better or?
I haven't done it yet.
Uh-huh.
I haven't even walked through it yet, so I can't comment on that. But we'd have to get a lot better, I
hmm
mean, that's quite a jump. But other
Yeah.
than
Or maybe
that,
they're giving out a lot of comps for it to make up for it. Who knows?
I'm sure, well, that's what they always do with buffets. And that's why
hmm
everybody always goes, we lose money on buffets. No, you don't. You don't lose money on buffets. You lose money on comping buffets.
hmm
So, you're going to lose money somewhere else. So don't give me that line.
And now you had just mentioned Virgin. I know we've talked about it before. It's always been a ghost town and they can't pull anybody off the strip. Have they figured out a way to pull people off the strip yet? Anything cool there or no?
No, not a change. I mean, the only thing, yeah, I can't say there's nothing cool there because there's some cool
hmm
things there. Not cool enough, I
hmm
mean, I think their restaurants are good and interesting. I just saw that there's in the steakhouse, it looks like they've got a real interesting happy hour for a shellfish platter for $25. Well, it remains to be seen what's on it. If there's a
hmm
shrimp and a clam, it's not going to be so good. But I
hmm
mean, you got to assume it's relatively decent. They've got the Thai place that everyone says is great,
hmm
and they're really pushing on a music scene there. They're really going for
Oh,
some,
they are. That's good.
yeah, to play in their sidebar there.
I
And
guess what used to be vinyl, right?
yeah, and I've
Uh-huh.
got to see about catching a show there to see what it's all about because there's some interesting the kind of bands that you like and follow.
hmm
You know them right off the top of your head.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not a devotee of them per se, so I can't tell
hmm
you who, but I've seen some names that I recognize. And
Gotcha.
but so far, same thing. They just keep, holding the line on something that doesn't seem to work very well. And
hmm
to this day, they've been open going on a year and a half, and their sports book still isn't licensed. So,
Yeah, that was a bit of it's a nice place to watch sports. You just can't bet on it because I think that
right.
was a bit of a finagle or a debacle there with whoever it was. I forget the brand, but they screwed
That's
something
Fred.
up and didn't get licensed, right?
Yeah, the brand is Betfred, and
That's it.
the
Yeah.
problem is that they come from the UK.
hmm
So it's tougher for them to get their, and the internet. So it's tougher for them to get a license and go through the process.
hmm
But man, nobody thought it was going to take this long. So,
Yeah.
they continue to face challenges there.
Yeah, I know I had eaten it because that's where I stay. They treat me very well there. I get a lot of comps there. That's why I'm always interested. I've eaten at that steakhouse. The steakhouse is real good. So I know I had a lot of their oysters that were phenomenal. So if they have those on the that seafood tower, I imagine that being pretty good for $25.
I'm going to check it out, man. Read your advisor. Well,
Mhm.
you'll know soon enough.
All right. Now, any changes in the parking fees? Any more fees? Any less fees?
No changes in what was already there.
hmm
One difference is that they're initiating paid parking in an area downtown that never was. and that is the Arts District. There's two burgeoning areas downtown. All right, so you've got Fremont Street downtown, and then you have what's come to be known as the East Fremont Street District. And that's okay. So you go beyond or up to the El Cortez and beyond, further east, and there's just a fantastic bar and music scene there, and it's really cool. But the other area that's even bigger is on the other side. It's called the Arts District, and that's over at basically at Charleston and Main Street, which is a little bit south of downtown. And there's even more bars and breweries and things like that. Now, it's, they've got a place called Wise Guys there, which is a comedy club, a pure comedy club. They don't have machines. They don't have a restaurant, although they serve food, and you go in, you pay, or you go to the free open mic, or maybe it's $5 to get in, and you have beers and they do comedy, and then they close the place and you leave. So, Vegas hasn't seen a place like that ever, hardly. And so the Arts District is a cool place and a fun place to go, and parking's free, or it was. They've just installed meters everywhere. And so now you can't find free parking down there anymore. And so again, the parking thing gets more and more kind of draconian as we go.
Is that where the what is it, the Container Park? Is that where the Container Park is too?
Container Park would be more in the first area, which would be Fremont East. So if
I've always heard that place is great. I've just never made it out there. I don't get downtown too often.
It's interesting. There's a lot of things to see there. There's a lot of goofy schlocky stores that I don't really get, but they've got some nice, they got like a whiskey bar in there, and they got a brewery in there, I think. And they've got a place where they do live comedy and so forth. The coolest thing down in the Arts District, in Fremont East, is a place called the Ferguson's Complex. And is an old motel that used to be called the Ferguson. And they've closed all the motel rooms, so you can't stay there anymore. But they've got like an area down where they have concerts down in a courtyard. And they've got a unbelievable restaurant there called Peyote that is as good as it gets these days. I know, smiling, but it's just fabulous. Northern and Southern Mexican cuisine. It's sort of a merging of the two styles with chefs that came from Andres and Robuchon. And I mean, it's unbelievable. Anybody who goes down there, if you ever listen to one thing that I ever said that you ought to do, they have one dessert on the menu, and it's a flan. And you got to eat that.
I love flan.
I love flan. Like it. I don't even like flan. And I didn't even know what to say when I tasted this thing. So go down to Peyote and try the flan.
All right. And now, is Vegas Test Kitchen, is that down there somewhere too? That's near downtown?
Area. Yep, that's another part of the Fremont East District as well. So these areas are getting so creative in the things they're doing. The Test Kitchen is kind of a place where chefs go to try out their ideas.
I have a friend that has a pizza restaurant there. It's called Yukon Pizza. That place is great.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but I've seen Yukon in there. But they have the girl from Nina Manchev is her name. She has a restaurant called Forte, and she'll go down there and she'll make these Yugoslavian pies. And then they have a guy that comes down and he does sushi, cuts sushi. And, they have different things every day. And it's called Vegas Test Kitchen. You can go online and check out what's happening the day you're there. It's worth going to. It's another cool, different idea, down in Fremont Street East.
Yeah, their restaurant, it's a pizza restaurant, and it's based on her husband's. It's got a sourdough starter that's been in his family for like 150 or 200 years or something. They make all their crust based off of.
Well, I'll tell you, Vegas is a pizza town like no other. I swear to God, this place, I'm having trouble having time to try all the different pizzas I hear about. I want to try Yukon, but we got evil pie, we got good pie, we got this place called Marsigliano's that we just did in the last LVA. This guy came from Brooklyn, and he's got a little joint there, and you get 2 slices. I mean, slices of pizza these days are going up to $8 and $9. You can get 2 slices of pizza and a soft drink for like $5.49.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I mean, it's fantastic, and there's like several Detroit pizza places. I'm from Detroit, so I like to go try the Detroit pizza places. They got several Chicago places, Giordano's, places that are famous in Chicago, or Giuseppe's, they have their deep dish and the other Chicago style. So, I mean, this is a pizza town. It's absolutely crazy here for pizza.
Evil Pizza is cool because I don't know about now, but I know before COVID, you could go there in the back, and they had some crazy punk rock shows in the back with like in a patio that like should only hold like 50 people, and there'd be like 150 people in there. It would get wild in Evil's Pizza.
Well, for the listeners, Evil is for Evil Knievel.
Yeah, Evil Knievel. Yeah, it's all Evil Knievel themed.
Right. So they got Evil Pie, and that's Evil
Mhm.
Knievel themed, but the,
Mhm.
the pizza is, like New York style,
Yeah.
and it's not evil, it's good. And then they got another one called Good Pie, so it's
Yeah.
all that, one
Mhm.
plays off the other. It's cool.
Now, any news on the strip casinos changing names? What Tropicana is going to Bally's, but like not the regular Bally's, the other Bally's, and then the Bally's that's there now is going to the Horseshoe, and like
Right.
all, and then there's still a mystery Caesars property that's going to be supposedly going to sell. Is there any other news on that when any of that's happening?
No, everything's just pretty much been confirmed that
Mm-hmm.
that Bally's on the Strip, which used to be MGM, the original
Mm-hmm.
MGM Grand, that's going to become Horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, since they get rid of the Bally's name, Tropicana is owned by Bally's Corp. So they're almost certainly going to change the Tropicana into Bally's.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of this casino that's going to be sold off by Caesars, they won't say. I mean, there was a
Mm-hmm.
thing yesterday in the paper where big news, front page news in the business section, Caesars is selling off one of their casinos, and I'm like, well, we already know that. Which one is it? And in the first paragraph it says they haven't said which one yet. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're holding their cards pretty close to their chest on that one. I don't know why they're so mum about it.
it's got to be. I mean, I would say it would be Rio, but they keep saying it's on the Strip, so it's got
Mm-hmm.
to be Planet Hollywood. It almost
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna sell the name, the one that they're changing the name. So it's not gonna
Yeah.
be Bally's. It's not gonna be Paris, because Paris is gonna be, it does well for them, and it's gonna be part of. It's connected to Bally's. It's gonna be part
Mm-hmm.
of the World Series. It almost has to be. It could be Harris, but
I was thinking well, I guess, yeah, because it's not a flagship property anymore because they changed their name from Harris to Caesars. So maybe I had heard the rumor that I had heard, but this was a few months ago, was Flamingo, because that's one of the only their rationale behind that was it's one that's going to need a renovation anyway. So like if it needs a renovation, why would they do it? They could just sell it off and dump it to somebody else to
it
renovate
could be. But
instead.
it breaks up their string. See,
Uh-huh.
that's another thing, that they're all strung together. You go, all of those
Yeah, that's
places you
true.
just mentioned with the Cromwell in between, they're all strung together. And at the
Mhm.
end of that string is Planet Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that
So
makes
if you
sense.
drop Planet Hollywood, they still got their string of casinos, which there's
Uh-huh.
some kind of synergy going on there.
Mhm. Now, I guess kind of is station still, they're still not giving anything out, no coupons, all that, no offers, no
Hey,
promos.
let me say it again. I hate station. No change in station. I mean, they ain't gonna change until their balance sheet makes them.
Mhm.
And
That's not happening right now, I
that ain't
guess.
happening right now, and
Mhm.
good for them. I'll tell you what the other big move is, since you mentioned station. It's just been announced that, those are the Fertitas. That's Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta,
Mhm.
who, did an amazing job. I don't like them because they don't work with us, and I think they gouge the customers, but they've done a great job at building their business. I mean, they've
Mhm.
been incredible. And there's somewhat of a family rivalry there with their cousin, who is Tillman Fertitta, who owns the Golden Nugget brands all over the United States.
Oh, okay.
And so there's certainly, we hear about this. There's a familial competition there. And Tillman is always, he's never going to one up them in the locals market in Vegas,
Mhm.
but they don't have a place on the Strip. And Tillman's always wanted a place on the Strip, and he just bought land on the Strip. He just bought 6 acres on the south end of the Strip, at the Strip in Harmon. If you remember where the Harley Davidson Cafe used to be,
Mhm.
bought that corner right there across the street from Cosmopolitan and City Center. And he will absolutely, I mean, almost with all certainty, he will build a big resort there,
Oh,
probably
nice.
sooner than later. And meanwhile, then on the north end, you had the Siegel Group, which runs the Siegel hotels,
Siegel Suites, yeah.
yeah, Siegel Suites, long stay hotels all over town. They bought what gives them something like 12 contiguous acres up by where the Riviera used to be.
Huh.
So we got action here, man. We got action on both sides of the Strip.
Well, Siegel, didn't they also, they had the Clarion for a while too, didn't they? I think it
No,
was.
no, they didn't. They never did. They had land around there. That was the Domaini family
Oh,
that
okay.
had the Clarion, and they still
Mhm.
do. And they're building supposedly a non-casino place there, I think, called the Majestic.
Mhm.
But that one's been delayed. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the status is of that one.
Mhm. Now, let me see. We already spoke. The Palms Buffet is open back up. Any other news on other buffets coming back, or it's just still the usual suspects?
Yeah, we're stuck on 12 right now. We got 12 buffets there.
And I guess
And
if somebody hasn't seen any of the other updates, what are the well, I guess we're probably not going to know all of them. You know, most of them that are open now.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I mean, if I grab the LVA, I could read them off to you right now because we list them every month.
Mhm.
But you know, starting from the bottom up in terms of price, South Point, you know, is the best deal.
Mhm.
Then you've got Rampart,
Mhm.
Circus, Luxor, MGM Grand, Excalibur, and then the high-end one, Bellagio, Wynn, Cosmopolitan, Palms, as they
Caesars.
said. Caesars,
Caesars.
yeah, all the high-end ones.
And I
And
think that's 12, I think.
it's pretty close to them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the one I missed in there was Main Street Station, which is
Oh yeah.
also,
Uh-huh.
you know, a low end one. Probably the second cheapest in town is Main Street Station, but without question, the best buffet deal is still South Point. There's no doubt about it. I think it's $10.99 for breakfast if you show a club card,
Oh,
and
nice.
there's barely another one in town under, you know, for $19 or less. So it's
Mhm.
a great deal.
Now I got to ask, just because it's happening down here this weekend, Formula One is the big races down here in Miami this weekend. Any new news on Formula One there?
No, there's a little bit of a discussion about whether or not the deal actually has been made. We thought that it was a
Mhm.
done deal. I think it is. I think it's all but finished. So there, I guess there's a possibility that it doesn't run in 2023, but as of right now, it looks like it will.
Mhm.
You know, unknown date, only that it's 2023 toward the end of the year.
Mhm. Now, any big shows, new shows happening, or old shows closing, or anything notable
Um,
going on with the shows?
Got a new one that just opened called Extravaganza, which
Uh-huh.
is, I believe, at Bally's, and there's another new one opening at called Rouge at the Strat, which
Mhm.
used to be the Stratosphere. Now they call it the Strat.
Mhm.
So, you know, already the best show, Illuminate. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the best show in town for deal is Illuminate at the Strat. Now
Mhm.
they've opened this one called Rouge, which is supposed to be a sexy, provocative, topless thing,
Mhm.
which is a little bit surprising because after COVID, everyone seemed to want to stay away from the topless stuff. I don't know why. I don't know what
Mhm.
that has to do with COVID, but for some reason, you know, everyone seemed to be very careful about that. But this was a new one where they're saying, okay, we're taking place of Zumanity as the most outrageous, sexy show in town. So I'm checking that out next week, and
Well, you can't be topless if you're wearing a mask, Anthony. Duh.
that's right. That's true.
And any news on the Seminole takeover of the Mirage?
No,
Have they?
everyone keeps asking me. Travel Weekly contacted me and wanted to know when's it going to happen? When is the volcano going to be dismantled? And nobody knows yet. They haven't said. So, you know, they're still going through their licensing process. That's going to take a long time because they're out of state and they're Native American, and you know they had different protocols for their licensing. So it's going to take longer, just like it did for San Manuel. But the question is, when do they knock down
Is the
the
fountains or the volcano still running, or it's shut off and just hasn't been knocked down?
oh, it's running. It's still
Okay.
running. Anybody who wants to see it, you know, get down here and see it.
Mhm.
Um, to me, it's still you know, it's definitely the godfather of them all. And it's still one of the most impressive, you know, I mean,
Mhm.
first time I saw it, I couldn't believe it. And every other time, same thing. It's like, wow, it's giving off real heat. And I mean, this thing is really quite amazing. It's a cool thing to see if you haven't seen it, because it's probably not going to last that much longer, maybe a couple months.
Mhm. Yeah, I always take advantage of it because I've been seeing it since I was a toddler. So I mean, it's just another thing to me. But yeah, if you've never seen it, it's definitely pretty cool. I'd go check it out if you're planning on going to Vegas in the next
Yeah, you know, I
few
mean,
weeks or few
I
months.
guess guitar-shaped hotel, I guess, is cool, but I mean, it ain't gonna be as cool as the volcano.
I
But
don't know. We would. So like it. I live like 5 miles from the guitar hotel they have down here now. It's like 45 stories, and we've been going and covering that since they broke ground on it. It is a very impressive engineering feat. But it's like, I mean, I guess down here, I mean, we're in Hollywood, Florida. What the hell else is there to do down here? You know, there's no other big buildings. If you're in Vegas with giant hotels everywhere, it's probably not that impressive. But
but can you crawl up on the guitar-shaped hotel and play the guitar? No. And when you watch
no.
the volcano, you can see it explode. It actually
Mhm.
works. There's something
Yeah,
going on, you know?
yeah,
No,
that's
I'm
true.
just kidding. But yeah, I get it. I just you sort of hate to see the volcano go in a way if you're
Yeah,
at
it's
all
iconic.
nostalgic,
Uh-huh.
because you know, I told Travel Weekly, I said, look, the Mirage was essentially symbolic of the change of the guard in Vegas from old Vegas to new Vegas.
Mhm.
And the volcano is symbolic of the Mirage. So you kind
Mhm.
of hate to see it. You know, the volcano ushered in the new Las Vegas that we've been living for, you know, 30 some years now. And it's,
Mhm.
you know, it's gonna be sorry to see it go.
Now, last question. I gotta ask. My dad's not here. The MSG Sphere. Has it broken $2 billion yet? Has it been delayed again?
No delays and no changes in the budget. What the only change is that you see progress like weekly, you know, like, because I can't see it from my office and it's on the other side of the strip. So I only see it maybe once a week. And I notice all the time that you can now see it from different points of the valley and, you know, from different parts of the strip, you can see it poking out. So it's going to be pretty impressive. It's going to be a part of the skyline, even though it's not going to be high, it's going to be, you know, tall. It's going to be a part of the distinguishable buildings on the strip.
Yeah, you know, I didn't really realize, like, I was like, I saw like $1 billion, like, how the hell are you going to spend $1 billion on a concert venue? And I didn't realize how like iconic it was going to be until when they announced the map of Formula One in Vegas. I saw they had the giant sphere on the map, and I was like, oh wow, it's going to be that. Like, I didn't realize it was going to be like that.
And it's even more so because it's what goes on inside in terms of the acoustics and things. You know, I've read some things saying that literally, let's say they're holding some kind of a conference in there, or even, I don't know, I guess a performer. It could be a comic or something who's performing, and there's a lot of words being used, that they can dial something at their seat to have the words translated into any of who knows how many languages.
Oh, that's cool.
Go directly, and I'm saying without headphones, that literally as the words come out, and I don't know if this is BS or if I misunderstood it, but as the words are spoken, it will be directed right to their seat in their language.
That's pretty wild.
It's absurd. And I mean, I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read. So it's going to be something like that, that you're going to be able, the acoustics are supposed to be just absolutely ridiculous. One of our authors wrote our book, Rock Vegas. And he is the head of the Vegas events, so he knows all of what's going on. His name's Pat Christensen. And I asked him, I said, what's the reality of this thing? He goes, nobody's ever seen anything like it. He goes, this will blow away everything that's ever been done before. So there you go, man. There's where the money goes.
All right. Well, Anthony Curtis, thank you for joining us today. As always, it's a pleasure. If people want to learn more about you or your work with the Las Vegas Advisor, where can they do that?
Well, we want to be, you know, we want them to go to LasVegasAdvisor.com, but we want to be like you, man. We want them to go see our YouTube. We want them to go to Las Vegas Advisor YouTube channel. We want to be big boys like you guys.
Yeah. Well, so I'll put a link to your YouTube channel in the description. So if you guys want to go check out their YouTube, which you should, they have great content there all the time. Go ahead and look in the description, and there will be a link to them there.
You know what we're going to do, Matt? You know, when we do our shows, we do a weekly update, and we always talk, there's always a lesson in there. We always talk about something that has to do with playing the game strategy or something, but we're going to start doing some things that address some of the myths and, you know, that have more pointed strategy things. So, you know, your customers like gambling, they should like what we're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I hadn't realized that the Palms opened. I saw your video about the Palms opening, which gave me the idea that we needed to do a video together about the Palms opening. I didn't realize, if it wasn't for your YouTube channel, I wouldn't realize it was opened yet.
Cool. Well, I'm always grateful when you have me on. It's great. It gives us a little bump. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Take it easy, Anthony.
Okay, you too.